What is up? Good morning, my beautiful bitches. So, yesterday I was gonna make some videos, but I ended up falling asleep because I'm kind of lazy sometimes. So, I woke up this morning and I was like, damn, I probably have that tiny 5 o'clock shadow. I need to shave again. Because I am a freak about shaving. Like, I have to keep it shaved. I don't know. Maybe it's from like my days of a stripper or whatever. But it doesn't even like grow that much anyway. I remember one time I was working in a nude club and I had the bright idea that I would grow a landing strip and then like dye it a cool color. It didn't even work. It ended up looking like I had drawn it on with Sharpie. Total fail. So I just go with bald. So I woke up and I was making a video with this and this. Now I have, well, this is disposable. We don't need that anymore. But this, now it has to be washed. And I have to do it by hand, even though it's dishwasher safe, because there's no dishwasher here. But I was thinking about it and I was like, I remember some guys tell me they really like hairy pussy, and I'm like, and one of the guys that told me that is like really fucking fine, and I'm like, really? He's like, yeah, when it's all nasty and hairy, and I'm like, that seems like a nightmare to me. But that's my mom's fault. That is totally my mom's fault, because, you know, it was a house full of girls, and there's like a certain math when it comes to like who gets to be the naked one in the house. Like, if you have daughters, which is me and my sister and my mom, and then later my stepdad, then my mom gets to be the naked one because it's daughters. He's seen her naked. She gets to be the one that's naked. In my house, when I was married, same thing. I had daughters. I was always naked. But, like, if you have sons, then the mom can't run around naked. It's the guy walking around with his tallywhacker, just fucking flopping. So, in my house, it was my mom. And my mom had the biggest fucking bush. I was like, because I was little. I didn't have mine like that. I mean, that comes in, I don't even remember what age, but when it did start to come in, I was horrified because I didn't want it like that. And I would ask my mom, I'd be like, well, how do I get rid of it? She's like, Misty, you're too young to be worried about that. But, dude, my mom totally scarred me over female pubes because she had this big, unruly bush from like that shit you see in the 70s porn. And of course, she was a comfort freak, so she'd be sitting there in her little things, kind of like what I do, but I guess it's itchy. I don't know. I think pubes are itchy because she would sit there and she'd be like grinding on them and scratching them all the time. And I was like, the fuck, Mom? And it would make this noise like and I couldn't stand it. I was like, I never want to have that. I never want to have a pussy that itches and sounds like that with a crazy bush. So when I started to grow, you know, that pube stuff, I was like, Mom, how do I get rid of it? And she's like, you don't even need to be worried about that. And I'm like, yeah, Mom. I was like, because I don't want it to look like yours. And she's like, what do you mean? And I was like, well, because Mom, yours is scary. She's like, Misty, that is so rude. And I guess it kind of was. But, I mean, it wasn't appealing to me. I was like, but Mom, like, the last thing, it's basically saying the last thing I want is a pussy like yours, Mom. Whoops. And she's like, well, you're just going to have to figure that out on your own. And I was like, okay. I won't hurt myself? And she's like, no, I promise you, you won't hurt yourself. But then the bitch hit all the razors. That's a good way to guarantee that I'm not going to hurt myself while trying to learn how to get rid of these little buzzes that are growing. What a bitch. Anyway, so that's where, like, remember I said I was, like, sleeping with my friend's dad? He helped me a lot with that because I was like, dude, how do I get rid of it? And he taught me how. So props to him for that. And see, Mom, I told you he was a better educator. He told me, go with the grain and all that stuff. And I also, not because of him, I know super cool tricks for never getting razor burn. Like, if you've seen my videos, I never have it. But those are tricks that I only share with people that I either like or they pay me. I mean, why? Why would I tell anybody my secrets? Well, those secrets. Anyway, so he would teach me how to, like, get rid of it. And I was like, awesome. That is so cool. But I would still torture my mom with questions. I would be like, Mom, after you're done, like, and she'd be like, Misty, will you stop making that noise? And I was like, but that's what it sounds like. And I was like, she's like, what? And I was like, well, when you're done, I was like, does it stink or does it smell good? Like, because my aunt would always tell me hair retains odor. And I was like, well, if it's not getting any air and it's not breathing and, like armpit sweat, if you have hair there, it's going to stink. Because I kind of associate it with armpits. Like, armpits would smell because they had hair in them. And I was like, well, does it stink? And she's like, what are you asking me? I was like, well, your bush, does it stink? Like, when you scratch it, if you smell your fingers, is it gross? She's like, well, I don't think so. I'm pretty sure it was. Because, I mean, no breath, no breathing. So whenever somebody says, I like hairy pussies, I'm like, ooh, you nasty bastard. Like, do you even use wipies? Because when I was a stripper, I used to go and, like, sniff my own panties. If I was going to go on stage and I was in the dressing room or whatever, I would, like, drop them, smell them, make sure that everything was good to go. Because if you can't pass your own quality control, then you ain't got no business sticking it up in somebody else's face. And even to this day, it tastes good. So I always want to make sure, because who wants to go through the embarrassment of that? And I've never had pubes, except for once. And that's when I was having my second daughter, and my belly was all fucking, and I couldn't reach it good, and I was afraid of hurting myself. So then they're taking the fucking birth photos and stuff, and my stupid ex-husband, brilliant. He's just fucking brilliant. He goes around and he's showing off all these fucking pictures. Keep in mind, like, I was always the clean one at the strip club. I never had any complaints of odor. I always, like, on point, So then he goes around and he's taking these pictures to the people at the club and he's showing the owner. And the first thing, they're flipping through the pictures, the first thing that the owner says when he sees this one picture, he's like, oh, there's bush there. Really, bro? Really? You couldn't have taken that picture out? Like, and really that's the first thing you noticed? So anyway, that's really the only time I ever really had a bush. And I don't even know why I had one, because this big, like, super big, ruthless black woman came in with one of those horrible little orange razors. And she's like, we're going to clean the area. And she fucking treated my pussy like she was shearing a sheep. I was like, and then in the middle of being horrified by that, she's like, okay. Then she sticks a fucking cold enema up my ass. And I had never had one of those before. And I was like, oh. And she's like, okay, so sit there for a few minutes and then go to the bathroom. And I was like, well, is it going to come out when I'm walking to the bathroom? She's like, not if you hold it in. I'm like, okay. Okay. But anyway, my mom bush traumatized me. Thanks, Mom, for that. I'm pretty sure she still has that going on because old people don't change when it comes to their routines on that. Which makes me think a whole bunch of weird shit about my stepdad. Oh no. Now my brain just went somewhere where I don't want it to be. I gotta go.